My name is Jack Massey. I am currently in my third and final year of studying Drama Bachelor Honours at Liverpool John Moores University. I am part of the 27% of students that suffer from mental health problems in university. University is generally considered to be a broadening experience that develops character and harbours understanding, but for me and so many others, this just isn't the case. Living with a mental health issue can complicate the university experience and can make it harder to get the most out of the opportunities it presents. In this documentary, I want to explore how mental health can affect students in different ways and how university can also help people understand more about mental health and to show people who do have mental health issues that they are not alone in this scary new transition in life. But first, here is my story. I was diagnosed with global development delay at the age of 4. This was due to my communication problems, which then affected my social skills and judgment. I spent a lot of my time in special needs education up until high school. This was a hard transition as my lack of social skills made it hard for me to fit in. When I was diagnosed with autism at the age of 12, it helped me give more perspective on why I lacked my social interaction and struggled more in class than everyone else. And even with that burden looking down on me, I was able to accomplish the challenges that faced me, and I successfully graduated high school, and I even graduated sixth form, and I was ready to go into university. And because I had experience of difficult transitions in life, I didn't really see anything different with moving away from home and studying in university. And because of my previous experience, I was able to adjust to the new lifestyle that I had. Unfortunately, as with any mental health condition, you can slip. And even though I was starting fine at the start of university really, and seeing that I was out of my bad mind state that I experienced in high school, last year it came back and it led to the point of severe depression and self-harm, something that I've never done before. But luckily I had friends who were looking out for me and making sure I was getting the help I needed, and that was the reason for most of the time last year and the beginning of this year I was on medication and going to therapy, so I was able to talk about my issues and find new ways of battling my anxiety. I then discovered that with my passion for photography and filmmaking, it was a coping mechanism for me to fight my anxiety, and because of that it inspired me to make this video. It's called Secret for the Mad, a self-help video. It was my way of coming to terms that I'm going through a terrible time in my life and how I can have the ability to get through it. And it helped. I discovered a new passion and it seemed to be working, so I decided to take it a step further by making this documentary. I'm looking more into mental health and how it collides with the university lifestyle, how this transition in life can impact people in different ways. To get an understanding about the different ways university can impact students, I needed some help. Can I just start off with your name, your age, your year of study and what you study exactly?
Richard Dannenberg, I'm 22. I study drama and creative writing in my first year at LJMU. Yeah.
I'm Rebecca McEvely, I'm 29 and I'm in my second year of study.
Hello, I'm Sarah, I'm 21 and I study drama and English.
William Jones, 21 and third year.
My name is Ben Jones. I am 22 years old and I'm a graduate.
I asked them a series of questions starting about moving away from home and university life.
I'm from Germany. I've always lived in Germany until I came to uni 4 months ago for this year. I was born in the north of Germany and now I live in the south of Germany, so I've lived in 5 different German cities. In the past 10 years I've lived in a place called Trier, which is a small town. It's quite different to Liverpool. Definitely when I came to Liverpool, it's still overwhelming. I mean, also I've been back for Christmas because I've been in bigger cities but I've never lived in one. Okay. So yeah, it is and I suppose I was gagging to get out. A lot of people you hear that, want to get away as far, not necessarily as far as possible away, but it's just I did want that independence. I did feel as someone who was 21, still living with their parents, and it was finally time to move on. And I'm glad it has given me that feeling. It's struggling. I mean, financially it's hard, keeping your budget, it's having to find a job, need to find a job. And time management has always been an issue for me, and I still struggle with that. But I feel at the moment that life is getting to both, sometimes the worst extremes, but also to the better extremes. It is getting better, but the things that I still struggle with are getting in the way, are the most challenging. Yeah, as they have been.
So for me, I moved out when I was like 19, 20ish, and I couldn't wait to move out because we had a lot of issues going on at home, which didn't help my situation, which is a lot of the cause for my mental health. So like, there's between my mum and dad, they've never sort of gone on, but they're still together, mad, I know, but they've never sort of gone on, and so like growing up on that was really hard because it was always like quite a toxic environment. So as soon as like I met my girlfriend when I was 19, like I just moved out with her, like probably like within a year or something like that. So for me, it wasn't a big thing. Like I'd always wanted to move out from home because that, for me, that was my toxic environment.
When I first moved up here, it was hard because I was so far away from my family. Luckily for me, I do have like a bit of family up here, so it was kind of helpful. But in my very first year of uni, when I was in Chichester, that was really difficult because I just turned 18 and moved. It was only 2 hours down the road, but it was really far at the time. Moved down there. I was with my ex-boyfriend as well, so I wasn't with him, and there wasn't much going on, so I found myself kind of sitting by myself a lot, which made the whole transition, moving down there and kind of being independent, it made it way more difficult than it probably should have been.
So I didn't move away from home. That's such a hard question because I'm from Liverpool. I go to university in Liverpool. I just lived at home, so
That's alright.
Yeah.
That's perfectly fine.
I think one of the biggest like stresses I faced like starting university was like the fear of fitting in. And like that did, like, I wouldn't say that caused anxiety, but it does make you really anxious because you're like, oh, I'm going to spend 3 years with these people. Are these people going to like me? You know, I have to be like, you know, this person. And then I think it was like halfway through like first year, I was just like, do you know what? I had like an epiphany and I was like, just be yourself because there's no point. And then that's when I realised, I was like, yeah, I was like, I like you, I don't like you, and I'll tell you to your face.
It was, for me, it was actually quite strange because before I came to uni, everyone was sort of very worried about me because I'm a bit of an introvert, a bit of a homebody. So everyone was thinking that me and my partner who I came to uni with, they thought that I would want to go home immediately and that she would want to stay and be comfy. It was the other way around. I was perfectly comfortable moving in a new place, taking a big step. It was, I felt like I was progressing. So I was a little bit uncomfortable, but once I'd settled, I was completely fine. It kind of freaked me out, the fact that I didn't have any issues with that at all.
Getting comfortable about their different living situations, I asked about their mental health in general, about what they have officially diagnosis of.
I was diagnosed with ADHD 2.5 years ago, and I was always a bit wary about whether to put it. I mean, I didn't put it on my UCAS form originally. I first didn't tell anyone at all at the uni, because I had some bad experiences in my old school where they meant well, but sometimes it felt like they were just trying to get me to, you know, pass my exams, and I felt sometimes they cared less about my well-being than my actual ability to do well in school.
I think I know a little bit about your mental health
Yeah.
because you make YouTube videos, of
Yeah.
course. You talk about that you have ADHD?
No, OCD.
OCD, that's it.
Yeah.
I should do more of my homework.
It's right. It's a lot of letters. OCD, like with OCD, it can be difficult because, like for today's example, in a lesson we're doing immersive, and we were doing a task of where we were walking up to each other and pretending like we didn't know each other, and then we did know each other, and then we had to kiss each other, and that was hard for me because of my OCD, and I sort of was like, I couldn't believe that we all had to peck each other on the lips and stuff like that, and I was just like, and I kind of like, I have this heat in me that I'm like, and my chest starts going and stuff like that, so I was just like, oh, but I did it kind of thing, and then like as soon as I did that, like wiped it away because it wasn't the person, because they were fab, what you call it. It was just that for me, it's just such a big thing to even have that contact with somebody. I'm a very tactile person, but anything to do with anything like that, it's a lot for me. And I did Macbeth last year, and I had to specifically ask not to, I was Lady Macbeth, I had to specifically ask not to kiss Macbeth. Like I had to ask Paula, our tutor, because I was like my OCD is that bad. Like I didn't sleep for about a week, panicking about when she was going to ask us to kiss and stuff like that. And like it's just like an intimacy that I'm not comfortable with. And it's just things like having to go and wash my hands, and like mine's not necessarily cleanliness, but it does pop up a lot. Mine is a lot of like touching things a certain amount of times, or intrusive thoughts. So I'll have thoughts that pop in my head, and like people were saying before, like I have like a face that I'm very like that, and then when I realise people are looking at me, I'll smile and be like kind of thing. But it's because my mind's always thinking, do you know what I mean? So I'm always so like, there's so much going on in my head.
You're always on guard.
Always on guard. Like I'm always thinking about something. So people I'm just sat there like looking, but in my head I could be thinking of lots of things, or you know, thinking about did I do that, how many times have I done that, and things like that.
So when I was 14 up to the age of 20, so only last year, I used to self-harm like prolifically. I was really depressed up until the age of about 19 as well, and I've had really bad anxiety to the point where I can't leave the house. But I've just had therapy for my anxiety. I'm all good.
It runs very, very deep. So
that's perfectly fine.
Basically, through various happenings in my life, and not a lot of it good, I suffer from dissociative identity disorder, which most people might know as multiple personality disorder.
Okay.
And that is mixed in with elements of derealization, which is where my brain refuses to accept reality as reality. That's that in a nutshell.
It then led me to the hardest question I had to ask. What has been a bad experience that you've felt at university so far?
Yeah, this is something that I can often, I mean, a general thing that happened, I can react sensitive to things that are quite small. Like, I remember there was this thing on a trip with, I mean, and you meet loads of new people, and there was this moment when I heard someone said that I was being a bit too huggy, and I mean, I immediately, because I'm so worried about myself, I immediately had this thing where I worry about, but I'm something bad have I overcrossed someone's personal boundaries, and this was something that was just a little. I just reacted to that very sensitively, because I've had problems with my own feelings of. I feel ashamed for my sexual feelings a lot.
Yeah, there's been a few, but like for example, I've only just come back last week because I had to take 2 weeks off, and that was, I couldn't leave the house or anything like that, and it was really hard, the idea of coming back to uni, because drama is such a thing where you have to be in front of people and you kind of like put as a spectacle, and the idea of coming and being so bubbly and being this person that I usually am was crippling. So I couldn't at all even leave the house, let alone come into uni. And then I got a grade back during that, so I'd already had a week off, and then I was planning to come back the week after, and then I got a grade back that really upset me and I didn't think it was fair. And I do really well in my grade, so a lot had happened with this, the reason why I got this grade, and I'd spoken about it, and so when I got the grade I was just a bit like, I was really upset. So there was no way I could go back into uni after that, like, because I was already so low, and like I couldn't leave the house, I was having panic attacks and things like that. And then when I got that grade, I was like, all of a sudden that place that I felt comfortable to go wasn't comfortable anymore.
I'd say like the first term in second year up here, I think I was becoming really tied down with like all the work that we had to do and kind of what was expected of us, and I was just kind of like on the brink of being like, I can't be bothered anymore, like I really just don't want to do anything, so I just stopped coming into uni. And because I stopped coming into uni, obviously the work just got more and more and more. So I was getting more and more stressed, and it was just like an endless cycle of being stressed and being upset and not coming into uni because I was so stressed. So sleeping to make up for the fact, and then I was just like sleeping too much, so I wasn't actually doing anything. The whole cycle was just getting worse and worse and worse, and it got to a point where I like literally just wasn't leaving the house.
Hearing everyone's stories was inspiring. Having that many people have the courage to speak out about their experiences with mental health affecting their university life, it made me realise that you're not alone. Even when there are days that it feels like you're alone, you're truly not. There are a lot of people who can understand the struggle. So my final question for the people who helped was one which I hope can inspire a lot more people to talk about mental health and even help others who may be struggling right now. What message do you have for people who are fighting with their mental health and don't know what to do?
It does help to talk. I mean, I've experienced, I remember in our group chat, for instance, there are people who just openly talk about problems they have.
Enough to tell at least one person, or to have a little look online. Is there anyone that you can speak to, any forums? Just don't give up. Whatever you do, don't give up. And the bravest thing I ever did was live.
I think the sooner you're honest with yourself that there's something not quite right, even if you think it's something small or not important, the sooner you identify that yourself and the sooner you tell someone, the easier it will be for you. The longer you let it sit and get worse and worse and worse, the worse it gets.
It may come across quite harsh when I say this. I feel like everyone does suffer differently through things. However, I think we're in a culture nowadays of like over-analysing everything, you know. It's okay to feel, you know, stress, it's okay to feel anxious, it's okay to feel, you know, nervous, it's okay to feel, oh my god, I'm you know, on edge.
No one ever used it against me. Anyone who knew, no one ever tried to abuse the fact that I had these issues, which ultimately led me to the conclusion that even the people who didn't react or reacted negatively, even though those people existed, there were far more that supported me.
I hope that what they had said has helped in some way. But before we finish, I want to share this quote from a musical, and it's something I think about daily, and I hope it can help you as well.
Dear Evan Hansen, today is going to be a good day. And here's why, because today at least you're you, and that's enough.
All we see is sky for forever. We let the world pass by for forever. Feels like we could go on for forever this way, this way. All we see is light. Watch the sun burn bright. We could be alright for forever this way. All we see is sky for forever.
All I see is sky for forever.
If you are someone who is struggling with any mental health issues at all, whether it be anxiety or depression, or just the stress is just not making you think straight, you can always talk to the Student Advice team. They're there to listen to your problems and give you brilliant advice and to help you find you again, the real you, not the one that's consumed by anxiety, not the one that's consumed by stress. It has happened to a lot of us in university, and I can say from my experience, I lost myself because of mental health, and now talking about it, I've found who I am again. And I want to say, on behalf of the people who have taken part in this documentary, thank you for going to watch, thank you for listening to the story, and thank you for just being part of our mental uni life.